Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of the Indigo Womb Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host and sister friend, Shatia T. Owsley, and thank you for watching and or listening. So sit back, grab some tea and a notebook, and let's vibe together as we have organic and practical conversations embracing intuitive womb wisdom, spirituality, and a sprinkle of magic to rebel, restore, and radiate overall wellness in our lives. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Indigo Womb Wisdom Podcast. I am your host and your sister friend, Shatia T. Owsley, and today we are joined by the founder of Pampered Blessings, a beautiful soul who offers wound-centered care through doula support, Reiki healing, handcrafted wellness products, each created as an offering of love, balance, and restoration. Serving her community as a birth worker, a doula, a Reiki practitioner, and a nursing student, devoted to restoring reverence to birth, healing, and the feminine experience. Her work is rooted in ancestral wisdom, holistic care, and the belief that healing extends beyond the physical into the spiritual and emotional realms. Originally on the path to medical school, life took a transformative turn after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. That moment became a spiritual awakening, one that called her deeper into her purpose rather than away from it. Her journey awakened a desire to step fully into her calling and serve women and families with intention, compassion, and sacred presence. Today, I would like to introduce our guest, Miss Tahaira James.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I love that color on you.
Look, I think that's probably why we are so bright behind
Right.
it, 'cause there's a lot going on, but we're here.
Yes. So
Mhm.
I've read a bit of your beautiful bio. We have
Yes.
had, when we did our initial conversation, we had such a vibe and such a great conversation and just gelled so well. And I'm so happy that you are here today.
Thank
I
you.
want to dive into your story, and that's what we're going to talk to you about today, how you started on your healing journey and what it looks like. And so, where did it begin?
It's definitely a story, which you kind of touched on with my intro. Initially, in my head, my world was set on one track. I knew what it was. I knew where I was going. Couldn't nobody tell me different. And then life has a way of saying, you think you know until you actually know, right? And so along the way, when I got diagnosed in 2020, or it might have been 2021, if I'm not mistaken. It was a whirlwind. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what to expect. There was so much uncertainty. I never even knew what MS was prior to being diagnosed. It was never talked about. It's something that I didn't start hearing about MS until I was diagnosed. I've never ran across it. Even being in med school, I don't even recall us touching on it. We could have, but I don't recall. So that was a big shift because it was like once you start learning different things and you hear everybody's stories different and it affects this person this way. This person may not be able to talk anymore. This other person may not be able to walk anymore. It was like, all right, what's gonna happen with me?
Mhm.
Especially with the way mine came on. So I thought I had food poisoning at first. I just went out to eat one night. After that, I couldn't hold food down. I'm just thinking, oh, I'm just sick. And then it went from not being able to hold food down to, okay, now my vision's off. I can't see when I'm standing up. I can't see out of both eyes unless one eye's closed, the other one's open. So it was like, okay, something's not right. We went to the doctor. I was admitted for, I think it might have been 8 days. And there was a lot. It was a lot to digest. It was a lot to take in. They're like, you've had lesions on your brain for a while now. Nobody's ever told me this. I never had anything happen. So my first initial flare is what they call them when you pretty much you can go through a slew of symptoms. But my first flare was my diagnosis. So it's a shock. It definitely was a shock because, like I said, I never heard of it. And to have my body go through so many changes in a matter of days, it scared me. Honestly, it scared me because I'm like, am I going to have my vision back? Am I going to be able to be okay? Because again, it's unpredictable with MS. Like some people can stay in remission on meds, other people decline quickly. So it was a scary process to kind of, walk into that. But in the midst of it, even when I was in the hospital, my spirit was just like, don't freak out. Don't go run and tell everybody until you know what's going on. And the reason I did it that way, because nobody knew but my mother, my aunt, and my grandmother. My grandmother called my dad, but I had no plans on telling nobody. Honestly, I didn't, because I just know how when we involve other people's energy and their panic and their fear, you tend to do a lot worse because you take on that too. Even
Mhm.
if you're okay mentally with something, when your family especially comes with their energy and their nerves and their fears of what's going to happen to you, you embody that. And so I know a lot of people who have all types of conditions. And the moment it's other outside energies that are like, hey, I'm fearful that you're going to leave this earth. Well, guess what? My body says they're fearful. Now we're fearful. Now I'm declining because I'm responding to what somebody else is speaking over you.
Mhm.
So I closed them out. So my whole stay in the hospital, I didn't talk to anybody. The only two people who came up there to see me were my parents. And I'm glad I did it that way because I was already going through my emotions, my fears. I'm like, oh, I'm in med school. My life is over. My dream is done. And once I finally sat there, I think it might have been my second to last night in the hospital. I sat and I said, you know what? What does this mean for me? What do I do now? Because I'm free. I'm kind of spiraling a little bit in my head, but who told me that everything was over? That was something I was telling myself. Nobody told me that. They even my team, because I had two neurologists, I had a doctor, I had who else? Like, it was several people on that team, and none of them ever told me anything was over. Nobody ever told me that it wasn't manageable. But again, the unknown made me fearful of what I did not know. So that's kind of how we got on this track of in that moment, I realized I speak life over myself. I dictate how this goes because again, if I surrender to the fear of what I think I know because I'm leaning to my own understanding of what I think is going on, then my condition already won.
Mhm.
So that's kinda how I got to this road where we are now, and that's why I speak life into other people, the way I speak life into other people, because your mind is the most powerful tool you have, and it don't get enough credit. It just doesn't. And we are so prone to just feeling like, "Oh, my mind is only what's fed based on what I'm reading in the book." That's true. It holds some weight, but it's also what you're speaking to yourself.
Mhm.
You're like, if you allow your brain to say, "Hey, we leaving here," 9 times out of 10, you leaving here because you've accepted that reality. And that was something I wasn't willing to accept when I sat with it because I just knew I had too many dreams. I had too many aspirations. I knew my purpose was always bigger than me. And so I said in that bed, this is not me giving up on myself nor the people that I know need me because I've always had an understanding. Nothing that I was doing was ever about me because I never walked into it that way. So I knew, hey, girl, you better get out this bed. That's all I knew. That's all I knew. Girl, you better get out this bed because it's people waiting on you. It's people waiting to meet you. It's people waiting to see you, waiting to hear you, waiting just for your advice, even if it's the smallest things. I hear so much from so many people. Oh, it was just your attitude. Oh, it was just your mood. It was just your spirit. It was just you said the simplest things to me and my whole day changed. And that's what motivated me to say, you know what? It is. It's what I push out. What I exude is what other people feel. So if I was going to succumb to an illness I knew nothing about, then guess what? I'm just poisoning the world too. Because now I'm walking around with that energy.
Mhm.
And I just knew
Mhm.
that was something I did not want to transfer to nobody else because I never wanted it transferred to me.
Right.
So that's kind of what it was. And even
Yeah.
in the midst of that, what else I learned was my condition is something that's triggered by stress. Up until me knowing that I had it, there was so much stress in my life. There was so many things that I was allowing to dictate how I felt, dictate what I believe, dictate where I felt like little small things were triggering me and I'm on a rampage. And I had to realize my spirit counselor and God was like, girl, you your problem. You your worst enemy. You your problem. Why stuff going crazy is because it's coming to what you think is happening. It's the bills because we all go through that. It's like then I got to a point I was like, you know something? All of this stuff is made up around me. Somebody else came up with it, and I just rolled with it and said, "This is what it is," because somebody told me that this is what it was. Once I broke free of that idea that anything outside of me controls me, here we are. Like that's
Girl,
really what it is. Here we are. That's how we got here. That's how we got here. I
that
had to remove that. I had to remove
yes,
that.
that is my response now to everything, okay? When anybody says
Yes.
anything, when I'm having conversations
Yes.
about pretty much anything, I feel like it's all made up anyway.
It is.
Somebody made this up and then
Yes.
everybody just went with it. And now so it's up to you. What are you gonna put out? Are you gonna put out
Exactly.
something positive? Are you gonna put something negative out in the world?
And it's so true.
I would like to go back just really quick for those that don't know what multiple sclerosis is. Can you just give us a little bit of what it is and how it affects your body?
Definitely. So MS is basically an autoimmune deficiency, or I don't like to use the word disease. To each his own. But it's basically an autoimmune disorder where your body is attacking itself. So for me, my immune system is attacking my nerve cells. So it attacks the myelin sheath around your nerves. And you need your myelin sheath around your nerves to make nerve connections. It is just inevitable. You can't have there's no signals pretty much if there's no nerve protection. So it's pretty much a breakdown of that outside of your nerve cells. And overall, as far as how it affects people, well, at least for me, honestly, I have days where I struggle with pain. I have days where I'm super fatigued. Um, I have days where I have the worst migraines ever. It's just also, like I said, it's based on what my stress levels look like. And that's really where Reiki came in at as well, because I had to find an outlet on how I was going to keep my stress down no matter what was going on. And that became it part. Well, I'll say that became part of it. But the other part was, again, going back to that whole idea of limited beliefs. You basically box yourself in based on what you believe. And at that point, I said, well, you know what? When I sat down with myself and talked to my ancestors and whoever else I felt like sitting with at the time, I said, you know what? I want to feel that childlike imagination where nothing's impossible. Nothing's impossible. Things only became impossible when I believed somebody else told me they were impossible, or
Mhm,
it was going to be hard, or it was going to be difficult. And I had to learn that my walk has never been nobody else's walk. So, yes, there's people who can give you advice. Yes, there's people who've done things before you. But the real raw reality is how do you submit yourself to whatever it is that you say you're doing? Because your walk is going to be dictated by how you approach the situation. So, if I go in and I say, all of this is going to be hard. Oh, I want to be, let's just go to the doctor thing. Oh, I want to be a doctor. It's going to be the hardest thing I ever do. It's going to be challenging. I'm going to have sleepless nights and all of this. Well, guess what? You've already set the tone. You've already told universe how to line it up for you for it to be difficult, because that's what you asked for. Regardless of what you said, you may not say, "Hey, give it to me," but that little piece of doubt already let everything around you know. Well, she's fearful of what this is going to be, so let's see what she do when it comes that way. And that's what I had to learn. So I started saying everything easy. I get up for work and I say, "Oh, this is gonna be the best night of my life. It's gonna be smooth." I start talking. I start speaking things out loud. When I'm getting dressed for work, I say, it's gonna be a smooth night. I'm gonna have this amount of patience. I'm gonna have this. Like, I plan out my night before I get there. And 9 times out of 10, it looks that way. Now, every now and again, probably because I probably said I had a little attitude when I said it. It goes the way I did not want it to go. If I'm being honest, it goes the way I did not want it to go. But I've just learned the power of not just your mind, but just what you speak. And I think we kind of, how can I put it? We kind of ignore that phrase, power in your tongue. I
mhm,
think we've heard it so much that everybody thinks it's cliche until you start seeing things happening based on what you say.
mhm,
And I've seen a lot of things happen based on what I've said and based on how I've opened my mind to what it is that I want, what it is that I see. And I'm careful about, even if something's not happening right now, I'm careful about how I address it. Because if I say, oh, well, I want to be married with kids and it ain't happen, well, it ain't going to happen because it ain't happened yet. Well, it ain't going to happen because is not happening now. And now you already told future self that you don't want it to happen anyway, because you've made yourself believe you don't want it no more because it's not happening in this present moment.
mhm,
But I've learned that you can speak things, and although they don't happen right at the drop of a dime when you say them, if you pay close enough attention and you start to look back and say, you know what, I asked for this and that, and it happened. It just didn't happen in the time frame that I asked for. And that's what we have to learn to be okay with, because I think this time and space that we're in, everybody is so used to this like microwavable action where it's happening. Nobody has patience anymore. Personally, I like my food heated up in the oven. It tastes better.
facts, facts,
I mean, yeah, the microwave get it
facts.
done, but it tastes better out the oven. You just gotta have some patience.
Mhm. Girl, and it don't even be heated up all the way. Okay.
Or
You
either
still
it's
get
too hot and now you made it hard. So I mean, it's a lose lose anyway, right? It's a lose lose either way. So it's
absolutely.
that. It's that.
Yes. So as you're managing your stress, you
Mhm.
introduced Reiki into
Mhm.
your life, but you also started off in medical school and now you're in nursing school. So where
Yes.
did the shift happen where you said, I'm going to put medical school on hold. I'm still going to go and be of service, but I'm
Okay.
going to switch. I'm going to change paths. What happened there? Was that part of decreasing stress as well? Or did something else happen?
I ain't gonna say nursing school ain't stressful. It wasn't that. It wasn't the stress. Honestly, what it was at the time when I was in medical school, I was actually attending a school out the country. So I was paying medical school out of pocket.
Okay.
So to then get diagnosed, and it was like, okay, well, now we need full blown healthcare and things that you need being in the market, being in
Mhm.
the job market. So I said, okay, so I want to finish school, but I can't afford to pay for school and pay for an illness that now requires a whole lot more of me.
Mhm.
So I made the decision to go back into the work field. And in that process, I'm not gonna lie to nobody. I had my spiral moments where I was so upset about not finishing school. I didn't know what was gonna happen. And then I had a friend of mine say, well, have you ever thought about being a doula?
Mm,
Girl, or what? Girl, or what? I'm from the Midwest. They don't talk about doulas. They don't even talk about midwives for real.
mm,
So, girl, or what? She was like, yeah, did you think about being a doula to help pay for school? Yada yada yada. And I said, no, not really. And I had to sit with that thought. And I said, well, although it's not the OB that you want to be, you still get to make a change in the way that you saw fit. It's just not the title that you thought it was going to be. It
mhm,
don't look the way you thought it was gonna look. So I said, okay. I did all of my due diligence, finding somewhere um to become certified. That almost made me say, you know what, I don't even want to do this no more because in Atlanta, the doula culture when I first started, it felt very secretive and you had to really fight to make connections to really know what to do, how to get started. So I did my certification and then I ended up also joining another agency that was like I did it for like the business side of it, learning how to do the business side of it. But in that process, I met a lot of women who I just adore. And we kind of stayed in connection there. So in the midst of that, another one of my friends said, "Well, why don't you be a midwife? Like, yeah, doula, being a doula is nice, but you want me to support. Is your purpose is way bigger than that." And I'm like, midwives, nah, like nah. And it was more so, but they were talking from the stance of like a traditional midwife, meaning that you would precept under somebody who's already a midwife, and then you would do it that way. But that was a little bit of a challenge because it's not many people who even do preceptorships. So I said, well, what's my other alternative? I have a friend who actually finished MD school. She was like, well, why don't you just become a nurse and then you can be a midwife that way? And so I said, okay. Then we started the nursing school track. So no, it was not a stress reliever, not whatsoever. That definitely was not it. In all actuality, I personally think nursing school is a lot more stressful than med school. That's my
mm.
opinion. That is my opinion.
Wow.
Like they have their things, but with nursing school, it's so much more of the patient care aspect and
Mhm,
patient education part that
mhm.
it's a lot more that goes into it. Like it's not the we don't do the actual diagnosis, but we have to do all the education. So it's not just about what you know, it's what are you able to teach. So I think nursing school is yeah, it's up there. Definitely up there. I won't
Oh,
lie to you. Definitely up
I
there.
am not downplaying it at all. I have one of my really, really close friends.
Yes.
She just finished nursing school about 2 years ago.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm excited for you, but I know it's a lot, I
It
am.
has been, but I'll say another thing that nursing school taught me. It gave me more of an appreciation for good nurses.
Mm,
And I
mhm,
say that because seeing the behind the scenes stuff and seeing just how much selflessness, and even as doctors, because I don't discredit them at all either,
mhm,
but just seeing how much selflessness comes with any part of the medical field, but specifically those two roles, it is really beyond you because there's so much that you not only have to know, but it's so much you experience emotionally. And I
mhm,
think a lot of people don't know that Because I fully, before I walk in, I make sure I mentally protected myself because you encounter so many different spirits, so many different energies. And it can be very heavy some days because, as we know, not everybody that walks in the hospital is walking back out.
Yeah.
So it's that. And then to have the compassion to say, I'm still showing up for this person anyway. I still have to not only show up for the person, but I have to show up for their family because somebody has to tell them this. Somebody has to be there to console them. Somebody has to be there to educate them for the after part, right? And that's heavy, especially depending on how you lost your loved one.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of selflessness that comes in being a part of the medical field, no matter what role you are playing. You see so much stuff. You see so much stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I love a good nurse and I love me a good doctor too. And it just gives you a sense of calm and peace, especially when we know what we know about our community, Black women, our Black babies, and our statistics.
Oh my.
So for you
Was
to
just out
be
there.
stepping into this role to be one of those good nurses, we are cheering you on and so excited about this. That is all that is Western medicine, but you
Okay.
have tapped into a holistic side of things as
Yeah.
well. You are doing Reiki, you are tapping into
Mhm.
other forms of energy healing, sound bath healing, making herbal products and natural products for the body. And so, where did that come in? Did that also come in during your time of healing yourself? Or was
I
there a
was
shift, another shift that happened that introduced you to the holistic side of healing?
I would say my time as a doula was what initiated me deep diving further into holistic stuff because I always had an interest. My family has a history in herbalism anyway. I found that out along the way. My great grandmother and them, they did teas and they did all of that kind of stuff. So it was kind of already there. I just never knew until I started tapping into stuff. But being a doula and being trained that way. Cause like a lot of traditional doulas, you're trained to do things from the holistic standpoint so that people can have births at home and that kind of thing. But I knew for me, it was bigger than that because I know there's a slew of us that live outside the hospital. Some doulas won't even touch a hospital. But I saw that gap was like where I fit in because not all of us want to go into that space. But guess what? The brown girls and brown women that look like me need me in that space because they're not protected in that space. But even that, and I look at that we talk about Western medicine, but I felt like I was the holistic piece that Western medicine was missing for the women that look like me, right? And I said to myself, in order to consider something holistic, you got to take care of the whole problem. And our problem is bigger than just outside of the hospital. So yes, you can say, "Oh, well, we just keep everybody out." Not everybody's a candidate for not being in the hospital because there's things that are just beyond us, right? There's things that may require extra intervention that we can't control, especially with somebody's life on the line. So I said, well, how do I show up in that space and bring that approach to the space that I'm working in? Because for me, there's a lot of things as a doula that I can help you do leading up into your birth, but I don't necessarily fully control your birth. None of us do. So it's like I can holistically prepare. I can give y'all the tinctures, I can give y'all the teas, I can give y'all the rub downs, I can do all of those things. But how do I then bring that same energy into a space that lacks protection for you? And that's what it was. So I got introduced further to holistic things while being a doula. But then I said, well, how do I mesh it? Because I've always been in healthcare. I've always been in Western medicine. Cause I've always been a person that's like, well, baby, you can tell me where I can't be, but I'll show you where I'm trying to show up at. Right? Like you can tell me what's not for me, but I'm gonna show up in that space anyway. And my biggest thought process was the only way to keep me suppressed in that situation is to keep me out of that space that you don't want me in to protect the women that you know need the protection. So how do I attack the infrastructure inside out? And that's what it was about. So holistic care for me means all of it. It means the herbs, it means the care, it means the interventions that take place when they're necessary. Now, do I believe in all the unnecessary interventions that take place? Absolutely not. But when they are necessary, they are necessary.
Mhm.
So again, how do you show up for these women? Because it's a big group of them that can't afford to have birth at home. It's a big group of them that can't afford to be at home just because of what's going on with their anatomy. That puts them in danger. So it's that. So that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, it is what it is. But I will say, just learning like herbalism and learning just energy through Reiki and all of those things, you'd be surprised what you can change in spaces that don't normally accept those things. 'Cause I don't even have to show you nothing that I'm doing. Like,
Mhm.
I don't even have to bring anything in this space but me, right? And that's the holistic part because I am the holistic part that's stepping into this place. So I
Mhm.
don't need like the extra tools and all the stuff that we use and that we do. Those are wonderful things. But honestly, I've learned that these hands is all I need to show up in a place for somebody.
Ma'am, in various ways. You can catch these hands, they do a lot of different things.
Listen,
Okay?
God equipped me with me. He equipped me with energy. He equipped me with hands that like to lay on people who need them. Right.
Mhm.
And that's what it was. And that was a part of my journey, even through my transitions and everything that I went through with self from being diagnosed and all of that. My core value was I need you to use me in a way that helps people around me, no matter what that looks like. So do I have tired days? Do I have days when I'm drained? Absolutely. But I've always found reward in showing up even when I'm not the center of attention.
Mhm.
So that's
Mhm.
kind of what it is.
Yeah. And so through this journey, how was your business born?
We do. We do. It's the Capricorn in me. What can I say? Actually, when I first got certified as a doula, that was the first thing that instructor asked. Well, what's your business gonna be? Who are you gonna be? Like, where is that gonna go? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I didn't when I stepped into being a doula, because like I said, that was fresh. That was new to me.
Mhm.
I was like, I don't know how this gonna go. Like, I don't know. So when I entered my when I did the transition and I got with the other organization, it was
Amazing.
at that
Time
point
to
that she
use the
was
pot.
like, "Well, you got to figure out how to define yourself. This is a whole nother person. Like, you got to figure out who you are in this space. Like, it's fine to be under people. It's fine to do all of those things, but who are you as a visual? How do you show up as you?" And so I sat there one day and I said, "Well, what we finna name this? Because I really don't know what we're doing. We're just going on the fly. Like, lead me down this road because this is where I say I want to be, but it's some missing pieces. And I know that I still have to show up as no matter who I'm working with, I still gotta show up as me. And what do I want that to look like?" So I sat with it and I wrote down several names. And then one day I was like, Pampered Blessings. That's just what it is. And I said, "Is that what it is?" That's what it is. Like, it had a little ring to it. And it was also the idea behind the name was that I'm pampering mothers that are blessing the world. That's pretty much what it was. Because being a doula, your sole focus is just getting baby earthside. But it's also how do you take care of that mother in that space? And for a lot of us, we don't know, especially that look like us, we don't know what it's like to have pregnancies and births that are uncomplicated. We don't know what it's like to have support during our pregnancies because for a lot of the women that look like us, they were single mothers by themselves going through a birth space. And there was a lot that they did not know. It was a lot that their families did not know how to support them in. So I said, these women need to feel catered because this is one of the biggest moments in your life, no matter when you do it. We mean you literally putting your life on the line every time you decide to have a baby.
Mhm.
So I felt that it was important for these women to feel catered to because again, the energy that's put into you is what comes out of you. And I felt as though if I can make these women feel appreciated, then they have a birth story that's worth telling and not one that's full of trauma, but it's one worth telling because they enjoyed it. That's
Mhm.
what it was.
Yeah.
How we did that.
Yeah. So what is on the horizon with all the transition and everything that you have going on?
For 2026, I am being more intentional with my business because I'll be honest, for a minute there, it became solely school focused because they got hectic. So my business did kind of have to back burner a little bit, but we've never neglected her, but she just, she had
She
to
took
sit
a
back
little
for a while.
rest.
She took a little rest. But for this year, this is my year for relaunch. Honestly, this is my year to be able to dedicate more time to my business as far as expansion goes. But in the midst of all of that, like right now, I've been doing more like online Reiki where I've been on my TikTok, where I've been doing like womb wellness. So that's been like an everyday thing. I'm trying to, trying to stay consistent and post every day. Listen. Forgive me if I don't, because nobody tell you the background editing stuff until you start doing it. Okay.
Girl.
That you start at 8 o'clock and you be like, I'm gonna be done by 12:30. It's now 8 o'clock at night and we still got 4 videos to do. So nobody tells you that part. So I've been doing a lot of like womb wellness. So I have a womb wellness series basically that I have on my page right now, which is kind of centered around your chakras and how your womb plays a part in it. But what else is coming? This is going to be the year for rebranding what my business looks like as a whole. And also, I want to do more products this year. I think that's kind of where my focus is, just a little bit. As far as birth goes, I've been more virtual lately. I don't know. I get so many virtual clients. That's really what it be. I be wanting to be there, but for whatever reason, I am their virtual bestie. Okay. So that's just kind of what it is. I am the virtual baby whisperer. I actually just had a birth a few weeks ago, but I think being intentional and just showing up more for my brand is big for me this year.
Mhm.
And because I'll be done with school in May. So more time to myself. There's more time to dedicate to
Mm,
my
mhm,
business. But right now it's been more so the virtual stuff because that's a little bit easier for me to handle on a regular basis.
mhm,
In comparison to like having the time to sit here and do products all day. Like I haven't had the time to do that because baby nursing school be like, you got an exam at 8:30 on Tuesday, you got clinicals at 6:30 to 7:30 on Wednesday. Then you got another exam on Thursday. We'll see you back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday next week. And then, oh wait, you got 3 more exams the week after that. So trying to be present in my business, I had to accept that, although I didn't want to accept it. You can't do everything.
mhm,
You can't be everywhere. And that's what I learned in this process. Like you kinda gotta pick and choose what's most important right now. So for me, what was most important was I really wanted women to be able to know how to focus on their womb space because that's where your creativity lies. That's where life
mhm,
lies. That's where energy lies. Like it's so much that's birthed through that space. And if you don't know how to protect it, you don't know how to upkeep it, there's a lot of things that happens to you because of that place not being addressed. Right. So that was my big thing was since I can't be as present like birth wise right now, then what other way can I help the women that I so badly want to be able to position themselves in spaces where they feel safe? And safety starts with you. Like the external is important, but what you omit from you is what attracts how other people treat you. So that's big for me is how do I treat myself? What does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Am I loving on me? It's something as simple as spend 10 minutes with yourself, lay on your bed and rub your stomach and talk to you. 10
mhm,
minutes. We're so on the go and we as women carry so much. And I know we talk about the men and they say they carry the weight of the world. But honestly, I will die on that hill. We could argue about it because I feel like women carry so much, so much. And there's so much selflessness that comes into being somebody that births life. That's a lot of selflessness, and I feel like that's the biggest weight you can carry on this planet is saying, I am willing to not only grow a life, but I'm willing to risk my life for that life to exist.
mhm.
So I just think women should take better care of them and also be more conscientious about what energies you allow to enter your own space, whether that's in passing, whether that's sexual, whatever it is. It's a lot that comes with that we unconsciously don't pay attention to because a lot of the times most of us don't even know, right? Most of us don't even know you carry so much right there. It's so much, it blocks so many things. When you don't pay attention to your womb space, it blocks so many things. You block your finances, you block your creativity, you block your love life, you block you block your self-love. Like it's so much that goes into your womb space. And it's very underrated because I think there's this idea that every woman has a womb, so everybody's just good. No, ma'am.
Right.
No,
Mhm,
ma'am. No,
mhm.
ma'am. So that's what I want for 2026 is for women to be able to really work on loving on themselves. And I think that comes from being an example of loving on yourself for other women because we have been conditioned to believe that our love, especially self-love, is derived from external validation. And it's not. It's
Mhm.
not. It's not. So once you've been able to master that idea, I promise you, there's so many things that have opened up in my life when I finally started caring about me and my womb space, even holding space for women in birth and in Reiki. I didn't know how important it was for me to take care of me also, which is another reason why we stepped back from my business because I still had to take care of me.
Mhm.
Because I had to learn that no matter how badly I want things to change for people, if I'm not taking care of me, which also, hence my diagnosis was something that was triggered by stress, because girl,
Mhm.
you do a lot and you got to
Mhm.
learn how to take care of you. And in the midst of all of that, what it taught me was to be the best version of me so I can be the best version to give to other people because it's still a pouring game. And if you always empty, how do you show up for the same people who you say you want to help? Because now I'm giving you the bitter end of me. So guess what? That's the energy you're receiving.
Mhm.
So let me step back. That don't mean that I'm lacking. That don't mean that I failed. It just means I gotta show up in a new way that still balances and respects myself also.
Mm.
And I think that's what I wanted to teach other women. Like you can do all the things in the world. You can be a great mother, you can be a great friend, but how great are you to yourself? Because that's where it starts. That's the only way you can be great to everybody else around you. That's the only way you can keep showing up. If you always drained, there's nothing else to give.
Yeah.
And we as women have learned to give even when there's nothing else to give.
Mhm.
Till life says, guess what? Let me sit you down. And that's what my diagnosis said. Let me sit you down.
'Cause you
Because
don't
yeah, you got
listen.
purpose. I don't. I've gotten better a little bit. I've gotten better. I've gotten better. It ain't listen, it ain't what it used to be. Cause baby, when I tell you I used to run it into the ground trying to do it all. But that was my learning curve, right? That was my learning curve to say, I can still show up, but maybe I just don't show up as much.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe I only show up on Tuesdays and Thursdays instead of Sunday through Sunday.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I've been working on that, and I think that's what the end of last year was for me, was like, "Okay, you know what? You got all these great things you're doing, but baby, at some point, you gonna burn it all the way down."
Mhm.
So the end of pretty much, I would say the last 6 months of 2025, it was like, "Okay, step back. Business still gonna be okay. People still gonna be okay." I didn't take any bursts at the end of last year.
Mhm.
Everything will be fine. They'll still be there when you're ready to come back. But guess what? You have nothing to pour right now. And here we are. And that's how we got to even doing the womb wellness on my page, because I found through that process, it wasn't just about the women that I posted it for. It was really about me. And really what it was, because initially when I started, I said, well, I want to do something just to teach women how to take care of themselves. But as I started doing it, it was like, no, girl, you was taking care of yourself. And you're just giving them a glimpse of what you needed to be doing for yourself this whole time. So
Yeah.
now you benefit from it. Not
Yeah.
only they get to see it, but you benefit from it. So it became less about me showing people and more
Mhm.
about me being vulnerable and letting you see what I'm doing for myself. Now, if
Mhm.
you benefit from it, the more the merrier, right? But
Mhm.
really, that whole process was for me in a nutshell, and I didn't know it going into it, but I know now.
Mhm.
I do know now, so that's what it is.
And I think that's a beautiful message because I think sometimes as women we're waiting for permission for someone to tell us it's okay for us to take care of ourselves because we're always putting everyone else before our own self. When a lot of times it is about self accountability, it's about us saying, no, I need to do this for me because if you want me to be the best version of myself, I'm excited for what you have to come for 2026 because this message is extremely important, especially in this day and age with there's so much going on in the world.
Mhm.
And I love that we're resting now. I love that we're taking a seat. I love that we are pouring back into ourselves and to other sisters and other women to say, "Hey, I was just calling to check on you. Hey, how you feeling? How
Definitely.
you doing?" And I think it just will make for ourselves will be better, but the world will be a better place if we are able to
Definitely.
take better care of ourselves. So I love that for us
Definitely.
that you're giving that to us. It's like you
Yes.
gave us our permission today. So
Yes,
I'm
because
going
you
to
definitely
take
got it.
that.
Nobody ever said you couldn't rest. You told yourself that.
Exactly.
Conditioning.
Yes,
It's conditioning. That
it
that's what it
is.
boils down to, conditioning. Like, we've been
Yeah,
conditioned to think that
we have to
it's
keep going.
always we always it's always this. And I think
Mhm.
it comes from also that place of all of these external numbers. We're gonna say numbers because it's really the bills. I promise all of us run on E because it started with the bills. It's usually
Mhm.
the root of it.
Yeah.
But once I learned, I said, listen, guess what? You can call me today, it'll get paid next month, and you ain't gonna do nothing about it. I mean, once I had that in my head, I said, listen, you're not gonna stress me about something that you gonna get anyway.
Right.
I'm not gonna stress me about it today. Because
Right.
guess what? Then I put myself into overdrive. Now my
Mhm.
kids are in overdrive because they're picking up my habits already.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's like,
Mhm.
again, what we talked about, all of this stuff around me is made up. It's all made up. It is all
It
made
does.
up.
Yes.
So once that has settled in your spirit, you will realize, baby, y'all will get it on the 4th of next month or maybe the month after. What's the worst you gonna do to me? You're not gonna take me to jail. You might harass my phone,
Right.
but I'm still going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep at night because guess
With
what?
my face mask on, and Imma sleep good.
And guess
Please.
what? The self-care was right up in there,
Yeah.
right? That's what it's about. It's the smallest moments of self-care just to
Yes.
breathe that are
Yes.
so important.
Yeah.
Spend 10 minutes in the morning with yourself. And I've learned that too. I started to get up a little bit earlier so that I'm not
Mhm.
rushing out the door and I can
Yeah.
have slow mornings. The power of a slow morning will change your life. I don't know what woman out there
Girl.
has not had a slow morning. Put that on your to-do list this week. A slow morning.
I love slow
Even if I say
mornings.
give you 15 minutes. So that way you take 5 to later a little bit longer. You roll out, you get up, go get your coffee, cereal, whatever. Do like how you used to do as a kid. We used to be up early before the school budgets off, watch cartoons. That was my slow morning. Now I
Yes.
dedicate that to me now. If that's me saying mantras in the mirror for 15 minutes, affirmations in the mirror for 15 minutes, turn on my meditation music and just lay
Mhm.
there for 15 minutes to dictate how my day is gonna go. That's what a slow
Yeah.
morning is. Dictate how your day is
Yeah.
gonna go. You started off slow, you realize when you walk out the door, it's a lot less stuff that bothers you. I promise it is. I stopped cussing at traffic. When I got a slow morning, I'm not cussing everybody out in my car when they can't come anyway.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's that. So if I could leave anybody with anything, try you a slow morning. Give yourself 10 minutes of your day. It's 24 hours in a day. Give yourself 10, 15 minutes in the morning. I like to do morning, afternoon, and night. So it's 30 minutes out of my day for just me though, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
30 minutes out of a 24-hour time frame. Because if you think about it, in 24 hours, 9 times out of 10, if you sleep in 8, for those that are blessed to do so, because it's not me.
Mhm.
But if you sleep in
Mhm.
8, that knocks off 8, right? The rest of
Mhm.
that time, you're probably outside of your house. You can carry your kids if you are at home, running to work, whatever it is. But
Scrolling on
none of that
social
time,
media.
that's who. But none of
Okay.
that time have you been intentional with you.
Absolutely.
When did you calm down your nervous system? So that's why I suggest slow mornings. You can't do the morning, do the afternoon. And if you can't do the afternoon, give yourself 15 minutes before you lay down. That's
Yeah.
just about you. Hell, this weekend, do a bubble bath because you ain't did one in like 13 years.
Girl, come
You
on.
know, it's that. It's that. Just start giving yourself the soft girl life that you want other people to afford you. Because we talk about soft girl life, but it's always the external that you want somebody else to give it to you.
Mhm.
Give yourself the soft girl life that you're asking for.
Yes.
And then somebody else will be ready to pour that because that's the standard that you set within self. It's
Mhm.
not about them setting it for you first. I know we all want Mr. We want Mr. Right. We want the knight in shining armor. And he'll show up if that's the energy that you give him. And that's just the
Absolutely.
truth about it. So
Yeah.
love on you first. And the
Yes.
rest will follow. I promise it will. I promise it
Yes.
will.
Yes,
I
yes,
promise it will.
yes.
It will.
How can people follow you, get in touch with you? What are your socials? What is the website? What's the contact information, ma'am?
So the easiest way to contact me is always going to be I'm a social media girly. I'm not gonna lie. It's easier
Mhm.
that way. Slide in my DMs. I'm more likely to respond. I'm not even gonna lie. I check my email notifications be on, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm quick to forget about email. I won't lie. I won't lie. Because it's a good chance that probably 30 minutes out my day at some point in between these increments, I'm gonna be scrolling. I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
But I am on all platforms at Dr. Tahaira J on TikTok. I think it's even that on Facebook. Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Oh, I love my Threads, y'all. I talk a lot of junk on Threads. I'll be on Threads going crazy on Threads. But that's pretty much where you can find me. As far as website, we're under construction because we're revamping.
For and before we close out, there's always one question that I love to ask our guests before we close out. And that question is, With all of your lived experience and everything that you've been through, everything that you've seen, what would you tell little Tahira? I think we might have lost her. Did we lose you? Okay, guys. Well, I think she had some technical difficulties, but I want to thank everyone for joining us today on this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.